cartilage in 3 out of the 4 major areas in your knee are completely gone, like non-existent anymore.
So basically, you just got chicken noodle soup in your knee.
Yeah. So that there's spurs growing on the outside of your bone.
I've never even heard of these.
Encore, what have you created?
And so everyone in the O-line room, they were super chill, and I was really looking forward to getting a chance to play with them. Obviously, I'm hinting at the fact that I didn't end up playing with them. We get to onboarding day, right? We go through the whole process. We take our little pictures. We do our eye exam.
Yeah, like the camera day, physical,
all that. It's fun times. Physical. Yeah, so I get to my physical, and this is actually something that Edmonton had kind of noticed too, but they didn't really say much about it. The Brahmas team doctor was like, hey, your knee's kind of swollen. That also could be their ball. All right, cool. Because I just saw that one come to frame. They're like, hey, your knee's kind of swollen. I'm like, I play offensive line. That's kind of what happens to us. Like, our bodies hurt all the time, and it sucks. And he's like, well, we want to see what your team doctor says. So they go to their Brahmas team doctor, and he's like, we'll get an MRI just to be sure. All right, cool. Me and one of the other Brahmas players and their offensive linemen, we go get an MRI, and we're in the car.
So was that in there? Like, did they have like a facility, or was it
we
like
had to drive like 40 minutes away.
Center?
Yeah, we had to drive like 40 minutes away to somewhere else in Texas. Wild. I get my MRI. Right, I go up to this place to get my MRI. I'm not really thinking too much of it. The doctor's real chill. The other guy was actually really nervous about it because he's had shoulder issues before. And so we're headed home, or headed back. They're going to drop us off at the facility. We didn't get to do the rest of the onboard and stuff. We're going to do it another time. I get a call from the team doctor. He's like, oh, how long have you, like has your knee been swollen? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's always been a thing since I started playing O-line, since I started gaining weight to play O-line, because initially I was a tight end, as most of you guys probably know. So he's like, okay, well, you have a lot wrong with your knee. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm playing fine. It feels fine. Like, it feels normal, because this is what I got used to, right?
Yeah, because you're used to it being messed up all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, so he's like, well, it's not normal. You have this wrong with it, we think. We would like to actually have somebody feel around, but, like, basically...
It was, like, all messed up.
Yeah, it's all messed up, and we're not going to be able to clear you. I'm like he kept saying a bunch of stuff, and he was using medical terms, and then it wasn't until he said, we're not going to be able to clear you.
That you were like,
I was like, oh, this is, like, an issue. I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, yeah, it's just going to build up over time, and then you're going to miss practice and stuff like that, and it's just not something we're willing to take a risk on. Mm-hmm. So that was heartbreaking. I actually sat through a meeting after that, after it basically already been cut. We're right by the driving range, by the way.
Yeah, I thought about
Shout out to my dad, he's up there. But yeah, so I'm thinking we're going to be cool, and it's not going to be cool, and I did not know that. So I go to the meeting. I don't say anything to the guy that dropped me off. I don't say anything to my teammate. They don't know what the phone call was about.
Yeah.
I go in and I go ahead and sit through the meeting. And, everyone's joking around and stuff. And I'm trying to take notes, but it's hard for me to focus because it's like, what am I taking notes for? Like, they're not going to clear me. I'm not playing. I talk to my coach after, and I tell him what happened. And he's like, oh. And so there's like 2 guys in the room. He kicks them out. He's like, if you ever need like to talk about stuff like this, like, and it needs to be in private, just let me know, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He says he'll keep up with me. He's gonna figure out if I'm actually cut or not, like what happened, because it was never specifically said, but I knew what the vibes were.
Yeah, they weren't trying to really mess with you if you knew it was messed up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I talked to my agent and I talked to Mark Lilbridge, and they both tell me the same thing. They're like, yeah, my agent wants to get looked at by another doctor. Cool, we'll go get looked at by another doctor. And he has me send the MRI to his guy. And then Mark Lilbridge tells me, and then Mark Lilbridge is like, yeah, no, take as much time as you need. He lets me stay in the hotel that night, which would have been crazy if they would have made me drive 14 hours back home to St. Louis.
Yeah, that would have been wild.
So I drive back the next morning because I have officially been cut, and I'm driving. It might have been that night I saw that they signed another offensive lineman. It's like the aspect of how much of the business world, like the sport
it actually is crazy. Because it was like, it was overnight that they had found somebody else to replace you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so my agent was going to send I wanted to send my MRI to the other doctor that he had. And so he went ahead and did that, and he got the information before I did. My parents wanted to be in on the conversation when it happened, and they weren't free till like a week later, so I had to wait a whole week.
Okay, that's
after my agent knew.
Jeez.
And so he kind of alluded, like he texted me, he's like, "Yeah, BJ, this isn't good." I'm like, "What does that mean? What do you mean it's not good?"
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I'm thinking, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to get surgery. I'm done for the season, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I finally get to talk with the doctor, and my parents are there, and he starts naming off the stuff, and so I'm going to go through the stuff he named. He says, all right, so here's what the MRI shows, and obviously we can't feel your knee, like I'm in Atlanta, and we want you to go see a third doctor and get your knee felt out and have them look at the MRI.
Right, like do an evaluation type thing.
But from what I can see on the MRI, your lateral meniscus and medial meniscus are both torn. Your LCL and your PCL are both bruised / partially torn. Your cartilage in 3 out of the 4 major areas in your knee are completely gone, like non-existent anymore. So
basically, you just got chicken noodle soup in your knee.
Yeah. So that there's spurs growing on the outside of your bone.
I've never even heard of knee spurs.
Yeah, nor have I. And then my favorite one. There's a name for it, and he said the name. I'm like, I don't know what that is, sir. He said, you're bleeding on the inside of the bones that are part of your knee. And I'm just like, okay, so like, how do we fix this? What does that take? And he's like, there's not really surgeries for like these, like they're too far gone.
It's too much stuff wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so much stuff wrong. It would take a lot of surgeries. It's been going on for a while. So they're under the impression that this started happening while I was in college.
Quincy.
It
all comes back to the
we're not going to talk down on Quincy, though. I love Quincy, man. So basically, he's like, yeah, it's no way we can really fix this. No team. And he used to be the head doctor for the Falcons, or do doctor stuff for the Falcons. He's like, for what we consider this would be the second highest grade, which basically means we would never clear you unless you were like somebody well-versed in the league and like everyone knew you. So it makes the most sense for you to retire. I'm like, oh, so you're saying this is done. And he's like, this is done. To which he then went on to say my favorite thing out of all this. He's like, I genuinely do not know how you've been playing this whole time. You are a dog. He didn't say dog. I can't remember the exact word he said.
A specimen is probably what he said.
He said, I am so confused on how you've been able to play on this. And my agent's like, yeah, what you're saying, this doesn't make any sense that he's been playing. And I've been playing at a fairly high level, obviously. Outside of college level, at least.
But I mean, that just means you didn't even have a kneecap, basically.
Yeah.
You were playing with the Panthers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something to be proud of. If you had a kneecap, you would be a Hall of Famer right now.
That's what I thought, too.
I'm just saying.
Impression.
Because you don't even have a knee.
At all, bro. But yeah, so basically I'm a dog and my knee doesn't exist anymore. And also the worst part was when I coached at Elite, right?
Yeah.
When I left, I told all the kids, I'm going to go Brahmas training camp. We're going to see what happens. I come back 2 weeks later, like, why are you here? Didn't the season just start? And I had to explain to them, like, my knee doesn't exist. My knee is not here anymore.